Hey there, everybody. It's your girl, Barbie J here, and we are talking about Tyler Perry's comedy drama, ZATIMA, Season 2, Episode 16, A Gamble at Love. And I got to tell you, I truly enjoyed this episode, and I'm going to have to dive into different parts of it in separate videos. I'm going to give this quick recap. It's not even quick because it was a lot, but certain parts have to be broken up because this was a good, episode. It was deep. So the synopsis for this episode is Zach gets relationship advice from an unlikely source, definitely. Fatima plans to discredit Deja. Yes, that's true. And Fatima's parents set up a dinner party to bring her and Zach back together. And that was like the best part of this episode to me. That was better than any other dinner party scenes, I think. So it starts with Zach and Bryce at that construction site, and Bryce is telling him that he can get the money if Zach can put up another $500,000. And Zach said he only has $1.5 million left and he's not putting up any more money. Then Zach lets Bryce know that he doesn't trust his judgment and he doesn't want to go through with this deal, despite Bryce thinking it's a huge deal and feels Zach is not going through with it because he tried to kiss him. Zach is like, you still on that stuff? So Zach said, no, we're going to pass because I don't have the money and neither do you. Then Zach calls Valerie over to let her know what he and what they have decided. Then he asks her, who's that guy? And she says, oh, that's Paul. And Zach says, I know Paul. He said, hey, Paul. Then Valerie asks how they know each other. And Zach asks Paul if he wants to tell her, or should I, he said. So Paul tells Valerie Zach was dating this woman. Zach says, engage my fiance. And Paul says, well, none of them are official, so it's the same difference. I said, wow, whoa, really, Paul? So I've been hanging out, he said, with her lately. So that's when we learned that Valerie is Paul's ex-wife and that they are still good friends and call each other honey all the time. So what's strange is, didn't Paul tell Fatima that he has a type? And he's talking about his two exes. Valerie doesn't look nothing like Fatima's type. Fatima's taller than her. Fatima's thicker than her. Valerie is thinner. I'm like, I don't know what this type is he said he had. But Fatima doesn't fit into that. So Paul's a liar. I'm sorry, y'all. He's a liar. And anyway, so when Paul asks to speak with Zach, who says no, and he's like, don't be like that. And Zach says, what? So Valerie decides to leave. Bryce asks should he wait for him because there's a lot of power tools around. Because Zach was like, for what? He talking about there's a lot of power tools around. Then he tells him to go somewhere before he trips and falls. So then Paul decides to give Zach some relationship advice, which I don't understand why Zach even stood there and entertained him at all. He tells Zach he's not trying to be his enemy. And Zach said, yeah, but you're trying to take my woman. So he says he has made some real, this is Paul saying he's made some real effed up mistakes in his life, but he can actually give Zach some real good advice. And Zach says, what? With that, what you saying that, why would I take any advice from you? And he's telling Zach he was messing up in the club, singing really bad. You sound like you were just jealous because you said everything he said was cheesy. But see, Zach knows Fatima, and he knows Fatima was feeling it and loving it. So Paul, stop it. Go bye-bye somewhere. Or as we would say, boy, bye. Anyway, so he's telling Zach that she wants to see his heart and see him vulnerable and raw. And Zach says, you're new here. Fatima has seen me raw a lot. And I was like, okay, I know what you talk about, Zach. But Fatima has seen him vulnerable and cry in the car when he first saw his mother and things like that. She saw him vulnerable at the therapy session. So Paul needs to step back and stop acting like he knows people. So he said some more stuff, that was said. And then Zach told Paul, you better be glad that we're on the first floor, because if we were any higher, I'd throw you out that effing window. And I mean that ish too. And Paul said, I know you do. He said, that's the sad part. He's trying to get, here he is trying to get with Fatima. So why would he want to give Zach any advice, especially after the words, you know, that he and Fatima had that morning? It makes no sense. So now we have Fatima in her office talking to, I think it's a private detective named Casey, to help her prove that Deja's lying about her injuries. So he says, you know, he'll put surveillance on her, and she lets him know that she's a stripper, and he's happy to take on this job, saying it's going to be fun for him. But Fatima tells him not to have too much fun and to be careful in that place. She also said that Deja's pretty dumb to do this and gives private, she also shared that she gives private dances also. So I hope that guy don't try to get a private dance from her or something. I don't know what he's going to do. Anyway, Fatima says that she just wants to send Deja a clear message that she's messing with the wrong girl. So now we have Zach. He walks into the barber shop and asks Mr. Tyrone if he can fix his fade. Tony's there, and then Nate comes in. Zach's not really feeling him right now, and I know why. But he finally speaks to him. Then they want to know, you know, where Zach is going because he's getting a fresh fade, you know, hooked up. And he says to dinner. So, of course, nosy Nate wants details of who the girl is. And Zach said he ain't telling him nothing. Zach told Nate a few times that he needs to grow the freak up. So Nate tells Mr. Tyrone, he gets mad because he's not being told anything. So he tells Mr. Tyrone that Zach is still doing therapy so that Mr. Tyrone can say some things to piss Zach off. Anyways, we have Angela showing up at Fatima's office. Does this chick have any work to do at her job other than being nosy and living through Fatima's life? You know, really. So she shows her the fake profile was down and tells her that it was Belinda. Fatima can't believe she was friends with her all of these years, and Angela says she's different now and that she thinks that Belinda is still trying to upset Zach. Fatima wants to know why everyone is so concerned with her and Zach, and Angela says people hate to see people happy, and that is so true. And then there's the other one, Misery Loves Company. So she says she must still have some love for that girl, talking about Belinda, because she would have effed her ass up by now. I said, damn, really? And she tells Angela that, and not to take that as she wants to talk to Belinda either. Then she tells her she has to leave because her mom and dad invited her and Zach to dinner tonight. Angela's like, you know, I'm going to need that tea when you get done. So call me after. And Fatima said, I will. So now Fatima shows up at her parents' house, and this is the part I love. This was like my favorite part. So Fatima learns that her mother actually cooked all of her favorites. And Fatima's like, what's going on, Mom? Because you've never done this for any of the guys I've dated. And she says she just wants her to feel good. And they won't tell Fatima anything until Zach arrives. And her mother is smiling the entire time. So Zach arrives on time per Henry, who opens the door. And Zach says, what's up to everyone? He don't say no hi or hello. It's just what's up. So as soon as Zach comes in, Fatima lets Zach know that she had nothing to do with this. And Henry tells her he knows. And she says, I did not send my dad to talk to you. And Zach whispers down into her ear and says, I know. And she said, okay, just making sure we're all clear. And her mother goes, Crystal, you know, which is her name, Crystal. So I love that. So can we get started? She said, so we could get this over with. I was like, wow. And her mother was like, Fatima, you know, you don't mean that. And Fatima's like, I hate when people tell me, you know, I don't know what I don't mean what I'm saying. And she was like, Fatima, that's a harsh word. And Zach said, yeah, a word that Fatima doesn't like. And so Fatima kind of felt a little bad. So then Mona says, let's sit and have some wine and talk. So Henry starts with, let's toast. And Zach said, to what, sir? And Henry said some real hard facts, telling them the story of how he met Mona and what they went through. And some of the things, I'm telling you, he said about Mona resembled Fatima, such as she was a hood chick with a gun in her purse, but she also had class. And Zach says, that sounds familiar, looking at Fatima, and she kind of smirked. Then he shares that when they got engaged, Mona cheated on him with some hood-ass igga. And Fatima shocked him. Mona is like, your language. And he said, oh, please, all the ish you used to say. She was like, they don't need to know everything. I said, amen to that. They sure don't need to know everything now. So he said he called off the wedding and went buck wild screwing everybody. And Mona said, even that damn Barbara, who was a slut like the girl that lives next door to you. I said, oh, snap, talking about Zach. But long story short, they realized that they were just hurting each other. And once they went to counseling and started hearing each other, you know, what they had to say, they got stronger. They told them that they can walk away. There's two things they could do. They could walk away every time it gets hard, and that's Fatima. And Zach looked at her. Or they could dig in and make it work. And Zach is always like, what are you going to do? Every time we have an argument, disagreement, you're going to walk away, you're going to run away. And that's what she does. Anyway, and after all of the rough patches, they said they came to a really good place. And he said, that's the problem. People don't want to make it through the rough patches. He told them if they do, they can have a beautiful life together. There was a whole lot more said, which I will talk about in a separate video, because this was dinner table moment was better than the other two we've seen on this show. You know, the two at Zach and Fatima's house, the one with Belinda, and then the one with Dr. Reed. I think this one was more meaningful to me. So now when Mona spoke to Zach and said, I misjudged you and I apologize, I'm telling y'all, the tears that were already welling up in my eyes started to roll down my face, because you could see on Zach's face how much her words meant to him. You know, that apology was all that, because if you listen closely, you can hear Zach say, wow, you know, very lowly. And Fatima gave a small smile and looked at Zach. And then Mona said, that's why y'all are here. And they both smiled and nodded. You know, and that made Zach feel better. That lifted his spirit, because when he left it last time, he was like, yeah, I don't think I'm good enough for her anyway, and left, you know. But the mother said, I see how you're trying. Anyway, then Mona said, now let's eat. And Fatima said, Mama, you had an affair? And she said, let's not talk about that. So when dinner was over and Zach and Fatima left, he tried to get Fatima to go home with him, but she wouldn't. And she told him it won't be that simple, but to keep trying. And he said that he will. He tells her he misses her, and he knows that she misses him too. And she says she does. And he's promising he won't do to her whatever it is he did to hurt her. But she's not budging. Zach also said that he's going to leave the door open for her. And she says, somebody's going to break in. Are you trying to get robbed? And she tells him good night and drives off. At that moment, Zach's phone rings and it's Connie, and he doesn't answer it. So Fatima gets to Angela's house, and her nosy behind is waiting up to hear the tea. So once she hears, she's kind of trying to get Fatima to go back home, telling her that she thinks Zach has learned his lesson. She should go back and give him another chance, especially since he left the door unlocked and everything. So then Fatima's like, are you trying to get rid of me? And finally Angela admits that she has company coming over, and Fatima thinks it's Bryce, but she tells her that it's Sam. So Fatima's like, oh, well, tells her that's fine, because she got her headphones, you know. And Angela said, that's good, because you're going to need them. So Fatima tells her to be careful with that one. And Angela said, he better be careful. And Fatima chuckles and says good night and goes upstairs. Then it ends with Zach pulling into his driveway, getting out of his car, and Connie is at his front door. He asks, what is she doing there? And she says she needs to talk to him about something. And Zach says, what is it? And Connie says, it's your mother. And he said, what? And she said, they gotta go. And she gets into the car and they drive off. And that's the way that episode ended. And y'all let me know down in the comment section how y'all feel about it. And for those of you who have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, this Hey Barbie J channel, please hit that subscribe button now and subscribe to this channel. Please, I need your help to get back remonetized. I need 1,000 subscribers. I'm about 350 subscribers short. So please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Share. Like, comment, and share. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. This your girl, Barbie J, saying, see you in the next video. Peace.